2026 debt management strategy. Mr. Speaker, debt has been a big problem for this country for many years. But what I'm shocked about, people always remember the current debts. They don't remember where these debts have come from and how they have started. I was just listening to the former chairman of the budget committee shouting hoarse here that the debt is not sustainable. I don't know what. Much of these debts were incurred when he was the chairman of the budget committee. And he's the one who approved them in this house, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was listening on my way to Parliament that he's saying that he was complaining initially. First, you don't come with the lecture hall notes to Parliament. When you are studying somewhere, doing masters in some economic class, don't come with your notes to the House, Mr. Speaker. You come with your brain here, Mr. Speaker. You can't carry. Standing orders prohibits people from reading from notes, Mr. Speaker. You go and meet your lecturer, and then he gives you some small notes like ile Mwakenya, old Mwakenya style. Then you come and use them here in the House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you come here with your brain because this is a house of people who should reason with their brain. Mr. Speaker, the other day he was telling us that the stockbroker, the other day he was telling us that Kenya Pipeline will not be bought. I am hearing now it has been oversubscribed, Mr. Speaker. He was saying that the Safaricom shares were overpriced. Now today again he's saying they are underpriced. Which one is which, Mr. Speaker? That kind of confusion is not good for the economy of this country, Mr. Speaker. That kind of confusion is not good for the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when you're a toddler in economic matters, stick to your lane, Mr. Speaker. Stick to your lane. Don't become an intellectual and economic powerhouse after you have been sacked as a budget committee chair, Mr. Speaker. You stick to your lane. If you're a man who's handling a CDF committee money, just stick to that lane, Mr. Speaker. Other things are bigger than you. Mr. Speaker, I am not trying to defend this regime. But when this government came into power, Mr. Speaker, the economy was in a very bad situation. Inflation was very high. We were almost at the brink of debt, distress, or even defaulting, Mr. Speaker. You know, inflation was almost double digit. We didn't have even enough fuel to fuel our cars in this country, Mr. Speaker. Today, inflation is at the lowest rate. The economy is growing over 5%, Mr. Speaker, heading to 5%. So, Mr. Speaker, let us not lie to Kenyans when you don't want to say the truth. If the truth does not suit your political agenda, then don't lie to Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. I am in a region I represent a constituency which has seen tarmac just the other day. This country has been borrowing for the last 60 years to develop certain regions of this country. And we are paying those debts as Kenyans, all of us, Mr. Speaker. We are paying taxes to service those debts. You know, this is the year of the truth, the year of the Lord, 2026. Mr. Speaker, this country has been borrowing the last 60 years to develop tarmac roads, to give water, to give health care to just certain regions of this country, Mr. Speaker. This is the time to get equitable distribution of resources so that every Kenyan can feel he's a Kenyan, Mr. Speaker. If you go, in fact, we have been demanding as ODM for the last 5 years to have an audit, the debt to be audited, or an audit of the debt, Mr. Speaker. Because we knew that this debt has not been used equitably. You have been told this country has borrowed last 10 years 1 trillion. I don't see anything in my constituency. I don't see a road. I don't see this is now when I'm seeing roads. It is now that I'm seeing dams. It is now I'm seeing healthcare facilities being built. It is now that I'm seeing housing being done. Now, Mr. Speaker, the other day, 1,500 housing units have been advertised in my constituency, Mr. Speaker. For the first time since independence. The last group who worked in my constituency, Mr. Speaker, were the colonialists. I have never seen any development after colonialists, Mr. Speaker. The last building, even where the county commissioner is using, was built by the colonial regime, Mr. Speaker. Yes, after the colonialists, we have just been waiting for the government. And this broad-based now is when we have seen things opening up, Mr. Speaker. And Kenya has been incurring debts. Kenya has been collecting debts, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these new prophets in town, hii manabii ya uongo, must stop what they are saying, Mr. Speaker. They must allow every Kenyan to enjoy the debt. If we are going to borrow, all of us must enjoy that debt, Mr. Speaker. We cannot borrow for certain group to enjoy and then we pay together. Have you ever seen? Mr. Speaker, the leader can inform me. Because he's a chartered accountant. You know that,
Honorable Junet.
senior accountant in the country.
It's not your prerogative, but anyway, leader, proceed to inform Honorable.
Honorable Speaker, you know, I've been to Suna, both Suna East and Suna West, and it is indeed true. And I wanted to inform the Honorable Junet that courtesy now of the alternative financing models, Suna West, Suna East, many parts in Migori County, and he can attest to that, are now seeing new markets being built, affordable housing being built. In fact, I saw a clip yesterday where somebody was saying, now even Jaluo can wave from the balcony. Those guys who patronize Bunga la Mwananchi. But more importantly, Honorable Speaker, what Junet is saying is that debt is not criminal to borrow. Honorable Speaker, you know there are people who have been pontificating here as if this is the first time we are borrowing. What happened, Honorable Speaker, is that in the last regime, debt was not managed. Our public debt was not managed. That is why if you listen to CS John Buddy, he will tell you that, and I have heard even the president say that, and these are facts that you can verify, even from reports by the World Bank and IMF, that out of 6 countries, African economies that were to default or were earmarked, that they were bound to default on their public debt. The only country that never defaulted was Kenya. All the other 5 African economies defaulted. Why?
Because there has been deliberate management of public debt. And that public debt management is what we should be speaking to here, not the pontification you hear from people here who are just trying to make cheap political capital to push their village narratives, Honorable Speaker. And I must thank Honorable Junet because he has reminded us that there are many parts of this country that were secluded from development because people borrowed and that borrowing only went to certain parts of this country. And everybody was paying back that debt, Honorable Speaker. So let me inform Junet that I know even the dualling of national highways will go through Migori to Isebania so that we connect our economy to Tanzania and other economies in East Africa.
Very well. Proceed to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying, you know, Mr. Speaker, I've just learned recently that politicians, when they lose their positions, either chairman of a committee or something, they can become motivational speakers. Mr. Speaker, they go to some hall, they say, oh, if you borrow 10,000, you don't need to put in that scheme, you put in this housing, then that housing is not going to give you money, put it in stock brokers. These are motivational speakers, Mr. Speaker. This country requires serious men and women, like the people handling our economy today. People like John Buddy. Yes. Those are the people who can take us far, not motivational speakers, Mr. Speaker. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, as the leader has said, borrowing is not the issue. The issue is how you manage your debt. Even you, when you can borrow as an individual, if you don't manage your debt as an individual, you'll be auctioned. So, Mr. Speaker, we must give credit to this government. That's the truth. We must give to this government that they found things that were very bad and they have managed it. They managed to pay the Eurobond. They managed to pay all the Chinese debts that were due. And today, Mr. Speaker, this country is not under debt.
Honorable Junet, you have done very well. Add him 1 minute, he's a leader. Add him 1 minute, he's a leader. Just 1 minute. You have a microphone. Leader, you have a microphone there.
Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying that you remember when, after the general election, there was Eurobond to be paid. Who borrowed the Eurobond? Who put Kenya in the debt of the Eurobond? People who are destroying now my party of ODM are the people who borrowed those things, Mr. Speaker. And they're using that money now to destroy my party, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honorable Eric Muchangi.
Don't get worried, members will speak to this, and I can see you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and allow me, Honorable Speaker, to support this report by this committee. It is, looking at it, it is a good report, and the Honorable Speaker, My attention is drawn to only about 2 areas in their recommendations. On the issue of the National Treasury scaling up development expenditure above the minimum 30%. And Honorable Speaker, one big problem we have in our country is that we borrow finances from all the sources, but not all our resources are utilized prudently, Honorable Speaker. And the same Public Finance Management Act requires that not above 35% of our resources are spent towards wages and salaries. And Honorable Speaker, looking into the budgets by our counties, which are the units that where we have our public resources utilized and spent, most of our counties have wage bills above 50%. So that tells we borrow our resources, and much of it is spent to pay wages and salaries. And I am not sure, Honorable Speaker, how sustainable this is, because we borrow as a country in the hope that most of our resources will be used to develop our country, but much of it is not utilized in the best way. Then, Honorable Speaker, at the center of this debt management strategy should be the fight against corruption, or rather, whatever means we should apply to have our institutions account for the resources is what we must apply. Because, Honorable Speaker, it cannot be said that this country doesn't have resources. We have a lot of resources at our disposal. Some of it borrowed, some of it generated from our own country, but, Honorable Speaker, a lot of it is wasted through unnecessary spending, renovations, and acquisitions that are not a priority for this country. So, Honorable Speaker, even as we look into how to manage our debt as a country, we must pay a lot of attention, very keen attention, to how we manage corruption in this country, because it is a serious impediment to our growth as a country. So, Honorable Speaker, I support.
We have the Honorable Ndindi. He's been here for some time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the committee's report on management of on debt management strategy 2026. Mr. Speaker, from experience that we gained from the Public Accounts Committee, we have always seen the Auditor General questioning why we have interest rates on undrawn loans. And Mr. Speaker, the issue is that sometimes, or in most cases, when you are doing budgeting, we have 2 components, the GOK component and the donor-funded component. You will find that many of the government state departments, especially National Treasury, will go ahead and commit on loans, but it will not use the loans as per the time factor. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to support the committee that we need to amend the PFM Act 2012-2015 so that whenever we engage any donor to give us a loan or a debt, we are able to use the debt accordingly. We are able also to negotiate in a way that the government is able to pull more on its side than the side of the donor. Also, Mr. Speaker, you'll find many of the debts that we have with the last regime, and I want to support the minority leader, used to borrow even commercial debt to pay government employees, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank the committee led by Honorable Shurie that we need to manage the borrowing of debt so that if we borrow, we should specifically and seriously borrow for development, not to pay recurrent income expenditure, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I rise to support the report, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The Honorable Wamuchomba, followed by Honorable Mukunji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to put my words into the consideration of this strategy, debt management strategy debate. Mr. Speaker, I was honored to serve in the Committee of Transport and Communication in the previous Parliament. And I sat in a chair and listened to several members of Parliament who came to the committee to plead with the minister during budget allocations so that their constituencies can be considered for tarmacking. Mr. Speaker, allow me to mention one of my colleagues who may not be in the House now, but I want to use his constituency as an example of how serious and dangerous it can be when a country takes a debt but is not able to manage. And before I speak about that constituency, Mr. Speaker, allow me to laud the current President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. It is not very common for me to say what I'm going to say. We doubted him, we didn't believe in him. When he spoke about managing debts, we thought it was just a narrative. When he promised that he's going to make sure that we access fertilizer, we thought it was just another story. Today, Mr. Speaker, I come from an agricultural constituency. Fertilizer was 7,500 shillings per bag. Today, we are spending 2,500 shillings for the same bag, even with the inflation consideration. Even if you don't like anybody or somebody, even if you have bad feelings about somebody, when something good has been done, it is good for us leaders to speak the truth. Mr. Speaker, that does not happen just because of a miracle. It happened because somebody managed our situation. He came in when we were struggling to pay our debts. He managed the financial crisis that were therein, and he was able to stabilize the basic commodities that can enable star production in our villages. Mr. Speaker, back to what I said about my previous role as a vice chair of the Committee of Transport. Then when we were debating on which constituency is going to get what, when I was the vice chair, there is this member called Honorable Danson Mwashako Mwakuona, the current MP for Wudanyi constituency. He appeared in the committee last parliament, pleaded with the committee and the minister to be considered to at least get 1 kilometer of tarmac. 1 kilometer. Mr. Speaker, I come from Githunguri constituency. I'm not speaking about 1 kilometer in my constituency. I'm not talking about 20 kilometers in my constituency. I have more. And I sit in this house as a member, like any other member in this house, who has not even a single kilometer of tarmac. Mr. Speaker, even as we speak about our people, our voters, we must remember that we have one fabric called Kenya. And as we speak about some regions enjoying tarmac, enjoying housing, enjoying airports, we must consider those that come from such corners of Kenya who have never experienced a kilometer of tarmac. It will not happen by narratives or theories or proposals. It will only happen by managing our situation financially, including debts. Let us allow the president of the day manage the situation. As a house, we must support him and advise him so that he can manage the situation and ensure that as I receive 2,180 units of affordable housing in Githunguri, all other constituencies in this country get the same share. Mr. Speaker, debts do not have a rubber stamp of who received how many kilometers of tarmac. It is normally referred as a Kenyan debt, not as a regional debt. So as we manage our debt, we must make sure every corner of this country is benefiting from our crisis if we have a crisis, or as our gains if we have a gains. So, Mr. Speaker, those that are campaigning in funerals and weddings on how poorly we are performing as a government,